Hey there, everybody. This is Ryan here. I'm here with Nick Jurgens. He's a commercial realtor. Nick, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Thank you, Ryan. Well, my name is Nick Jurgens with Madison Commercial Properties. I'm the managing broker at Madison Commercial. I've been in real estate since basically I came out of my mother. Commercial real estate going on 5, 6, at this point it's blending together maybe 7 years. And so at Madison Commercial, we do buying, selling, landlord rep, tenant rep, development across all different types of commercial properties. And we also work out of state too. So it doesn't have to be just locally in Colorado. We can work with clients all across the United States as well.
Right on. Thanks, Nick. And Nick's going to tell us a little bit about what's going on in the market during this COVID time. So, Nick, what's the general state of the commercial market right now?
Oh, Ryan, thanks for asking that question. I mean, really what it comes down to is that it's been a shakeup, right? And there's a lot of unknowns right now. But what we're seeing is that the commercial market is generally on a decline. It's not as attractive as it was pre-COVID. And if we compare it to, let's just say, the residential market, because you've probably been hearing about a bunch of residential real estate agents that have been saying that things are going crazy, things are popping. A lot of that is because of fiscal policy, but that fiscal policy really hasn't transitioned in the commercial sector just yet from the standpoint of people actually still wanting to buy, sell, lease, rent, because the demand for, at the end of the day, that investment rate of return in commercial real estate is just so unknown because the consumer confidence is not there. So, what we've seen, and this is a statistic from CoStar, is about a 24% reduction of transactions year over year. I don't have the exact month in front of me, but that was, I think, June or July. It was first quarter. It was the after first quarter. And so, we're seeing a significant reduction in transactions. We're also seeing a significant reduction in square footage needed for different sectors. But overall, it's been not as attractive, and it's going down.
Yeah, I would imagine like many stores are shut down, retail stores are shut down, and lots of offices working from home at the moment and all that crap going on. So yeah, that makes sense. So how is each sector performing and what is the outlook?
Yeah, well, I mean, thanks for asking that, because that's actually the most important. Because when you look at the general thing, the general outlook of the market, I mean, it's going down a little bit here and it's hitting this road bump. But really, retail is the one that's been the most painful. I mean, everyone knows it. You couldn't go to your restaurant. You can't go to your gym. 24-hour Fitness, I think, filed bankruptcy, and they're closing a lot of the stores, even here, or locations here in Colorado. But I mean, retail's in the most pain right now, and we're trying to figure out how that is going to change. Is the store going to need more square footage? Is it all going to be going to online? Are you going to have 6 feet between every clothing rack? We've seen a rebound, right? I mean, it's not where it was in April, but we've seen a rebound, but it's not the rebound that we're hoping for with that V-shaped recovery. I mean, it's going up, and we're kind of coming to another crest here, and we feel that it's kind of going to slide a little bit farther down because there was a lot of pent-up demand. So retail is really in the most pain. Industrial, which is actually my specialty, is actually the most surviving this. It's weathering this storm. So, I mean, where everyone used to be going into the store to buy their necessities, their groceries, whatever, now they're going to online. And where does that stuff need to be? That needs to be in warehouse and distribution. Those spaces are doing totally fine. I've seen maybe just like a speed bump, and then just keeps on going on. I haven't seen really any price reductions, any fire sales, anything in the industrial sector. I've still seen a lot of activity in that. And then as well, actually, cold storage, which is a sector of industrial, is going to be bullish and very, very sought after when you see the grocery store chains have to go to that cold storage to deliver to the homes. And then office is actually this weird in between, because we're seeing firms that are going totally out of office space, going 100% virtual. And then there's still firms that need people in the office, and they're actually expanding space because they need to have more space for each employee because of the 6-foot requirement and social distancing. So office seems to be a little bit of a seesaw of which way it's going to go. Retail is definitely not something I would want to place my money in right now, but you could definitely, if you're risk adverse, you could pick up some things really cheap in retail. Industrial is a very strong sector right now and isn't having as much pain as retail. Multifamily is an interesting one actually to hit on, because a lot of rents, deferments, and eviction stop orders are starting to be lifted. And so we've been seeing very little negative statistics when it comes to rent collections. I mean, it's only 0.5% down from last year, and this is June 20 versus June 19. But what will be interesting to see is in the next few months when all of these things that are put in place by the government to help these renters stop. And I believe you just had a video on that $600 check, was it, or the unemployment?
Unemployment, yeah.
Yeah, the unemployment. I mean, that helps. That goes directly to rent generally. So what happens with that? Well, I've seen some projections as much as an 8% vacancy across the board for multifamily, which would not be great. But that one's also a little bit unknown, but we do expect it's going to be dipping down a little bit in rent collections and increasing some vacancy in multifamily.
Gotcha. Wow. Yeah, it sounds like there's a wide range of how this has affected people, and just hopefully it bounces back sooner than later. So what are your general thoughts on what's to come?
Well, I mean, what's happening right now is we have a really interesting discrepancy in pricing and expectations. So, if you think of a market equilibrium, buyers and sellers meet at that middle and there's a transaction, right? But sellers still are holding on to pre-COVID-19 and they believe the market is X, Y, Z. But then buyers are saying they don't want to have as much risk and buy at a certain price point. And that goes back to my 24% reduction in sales year over year, because we're having this extreme discrepancy. And someone's offering 20%, 25% below list price, they're not going to get a response. But at the same time, if that seller's needing to sell, they're going to have to move off that price. And we just haven't seen enough transactions to figure out where we're really heading. But we do expect, again, there's going to be some price reductions. Where it's going to land, we don't know. But right now, buyers are holding strong because there's a lot of stimulus. Sellers are holding strong because there's a lot of stimulus in a sense with the PPP to be able to pay those mortgages, rent, etc. But when things hit the fan, will these sellers be willing to kind of meet at those buyers' expectations? That's what I'm waiting to see. So that's one of the final thoughts on the market is just where are we going to hit this middle again from where the buyers want to buy and where the sellers want to actually sell? And that's going to be the new pricing after COVID.
Gotcha. All right, man. Well,
one last thing I did want to say, just a shout out to the SBA loans. I know you probably talked about this. If you are looking at buying or selling, actually more importantly, buying, having a new SBA loan, if you close by September 27th, you will get 6 months of principal and interest paid for on your SBA loan, just as a little shout out for that. So that's not a deferment.
Oh, that's good information. That's good to know for sure. Well, yeah, thanks for your time today, Nick. I really appreciate it. Do you have any final thoughts or?
Not at all, but I really appreciate you having me, Ryan.
We'll have Nick's contact info down in the description below if you need any help or you're interested in looking into real estate, commercial real estate specifically. You can reach out to him. All right, thanks so much.
And we love education too. So any kind of questions, we just want to help out and give the best education possible.